Who built Britain's railways?
Look out! Look out! This...
Oh, Jesus! I say. By the way, I have my own train here. Look at that. Isn't that fun? And I have sweets which I can load on and deliver to any particularly interesting answers this evening. So there's an extra incentive. However,
this is turning into my perfect house. More toast, please.
Wallace and Gromit. But you have first to address the question of who built our railways. Richard Branson.
Oh. No, it's not elephants. Large creatures were trained to trample down areas of Britain to be very, very flat. The railway mouse.
Well, you're right, actually. That because... Well...
Sweet! That's a sweet. That's a sweet.
You're right, actually, comma, in saying...
in saying words. Big comma.
In saying that railways had to be flat in the days when they were built in Britain, which were the very earliest days because we were the country that invented the steam locomotive and the railway system, and they weren't powerful enough engines to go up hills or to go even really round bends, so they had to be straight and they had to be flat.
Were they built by the wrong type of builder?
Well, at the time, they thought they were the much-mocked navvy. They were called navvies. They were mostly Irish.
Yes,
and they were an extraordinary example of man muscle. They really were. It took a year to train a navvy.
Whoa,
you fed them on meat and beer. No Dagenham smiles there, very tightly done trousers. And they...
A Dagenham smile?
The Birmingham to London track took 5 years to build and was the equivalent in work of building 1.5 Great Pyramids. It was an astonishing feat. Astonishing. These people were incredible. As I say, it took a year to train them. They lived on beer and meat, and they could outperform any other manual labourer. I mean, farm workers would be exhausted after a quarter of a day that the navvies could do.
I hear once that the Trans-Siberian Railway, which was meant to be a straight line, the Tsar got a ruler and he said, I want the railway perfectly straight, like this. And he got the ruler and he drew a line like that, but his fingers were over the edge. And in a couple of places, it did a big sort of detour like that. He went, build me that, go away, you, like that. And they went, oh, we better build it like you said. So they had to build 2 very big curves in.
That's a lovely thought again.
That's a lovely thought.
I'd always assumed that the first railways that was...
All very well. Hey! We've got a sweet.
Oh!
Let's get someone on the scene and go straight there now to see what's happening. It's absolute pandemonium, Stephen.
Oh, you had your sweet yet?
I haven't had it yet.
Oh, I'm not very good at being a back controller.
The right place. Can't be a virgin train, is it?
Hey. Why, for a sweet and a point, why are they called navvies?
Navigational engineers.
Oh, very good, very good. I'm so impressed.
Is that right?
They were responsible for digging what were called the internal navigation system, which was the canals. That's how they first came over, for digging canals. And then when the railway arrived, they did all the embankments and the tunnels and the extraordinary earth movement involved. There were horses we used for taking away the spoil, but everything else was human muscle.
Elephants as well, did you realise?
No elephants were used in the making of that railway line.
There were, just little ones. So London to Birmingham, or Birmingham to London, was the equivalent of what, 1.5 pyramids?
1.5 Great Pyramids, supposedly.
If only we'd put that to a vote, we would have had 1.5 pyramids. Didn't think just a half a pyramid, we just thought we'd leave it.
We have the top half of the pyramid.
Well, that's a pyramid. That's a pyramid, the top half, isn't it? It's only if the bottom half...
That's what I would choose.
It's an odd platform. So just keep slicing your pyramids.
Can have a sweet. There you are.
Gentlemen.
Oh, no!
Thank you very much.
Curses.
They say of the Acropolis, where the Parthenon is... They say of the Acropolis where the
Those the magic
Parthenon
words.
is. They say of the Acropolis where the Parthenon is that they.
All been too much. It turns out they didn't say anything at all. I think it might
They say of the Acropolis where the Parthenon is.
Everyone!
They say of the Acropolis where the Parthenon is. They say of the Acropolis where the Parthenon is. They say of the Acropolis where the Parthenon is. Fight!
Bloody hell, Stephen. This better be good.
Moving on. So, the triglyph is a remnant of the stone.
Sorry, Steve, I've just got a question. What do they say about the Acropolis where the Parthenon is?
They say. They say of the
What do they say? What do they say?
He's going to say, 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 he's going to say.
What do they say
About the Acropolis, where the Parthenon is.
Can I write it down? Read it, it says it there.
Well, you've got to tell us now.
They say of the Acropolis where the that there are no straight lines. Damn, that hurt.
Do they?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Quite interesting object is at the very end of the Earth.
Telford Town Centre. Although I would argue about the interesting bit.
At the bottom of Patagonia?
It's right down there, yes. It's the southern pole of inaccessibility.
Is it the off switch?
To stop it spinning.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's most unusual. It's a bust.
There's a bust.
There's a bust.
Worth going then.
In the sense not of a pair of breasts, but in the sense of a sort of head and shoulders and front bit of a human being.
No, we didn't really think there was a big pair of tits.
He's of a living 20th century person, now dead.
A man.
Yeah.
Stalin.
Oh, the one before.
Lenin.
Vladimir Ilyich Lenin is there, right in the middle.
My
It's just
word.
bizarre. This southern pole of inaccessibility is more remote and hard to reach than the geographical South Pole. And in this very year, the destination was reached by a team of 4 Britons called Team N2I. Rory Sweet, Rupert Longston, Henry Cookson and Paul Landry. And we have one of this expedition in the audience. Mr...
Is it Lenin?
No. Mr. Rupert Longston is here. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't that bizarre? Phenomenal. Rupert, how far did you actually have to travel? Because there was no mechanical power, was it?
No mechanical power. We travelled 1,100 miles in total. Some of it was cross-country skiing and then kite skiing.
Was it cold?
When that picture was taken, I think it was minus 60 degrees Celsius.
What did you eat?
Food was
Food.
fairly repetitive. It was chocolate, cheese, salami, pasta, lots of it. And one day towards the end, when we'd been eating the same thing for about 40 days, we played laxative roulette. And with one person who had laxatives in their food, we didn't know who.
Well, I bet you did.
Not straight away. The consequences were quite obvious after a while.
Does it freeze as it comes out?
Oh!
Is it a shard of shit?
When did the Russians put that there?
1958.
Good Lord. Rupert Longston, congratulations on doing an extraordinary first and being very, very foolhardy and very brave and very brilliant.
Clearly not an extraordinary first. There was a statue there when they
No.
arrived.
They went under their own power. No one had ever done that before. Congratulations. Thank you very much, Rupert. Thank you. That's amazing.
I like the idea of that, though. The idea of going and doing that with no mechanical device whatsoever. His moon mission's going to be amazing. Give me a man up a ladder going, oh, this is madness.
One of the biggest problems faced by explorers, as you can probably imagine, is that of language. Alan and Bill, I would like you two to imagine that you are two of the Pilgrim Fathers who've arrived on the Mayflower in the coast of the United States or America.
Right.
And I would like Rich and Sean to imagine you are Native Americans who meet them. How, you can use sign language if you like, would you communicate?
I would immediately read from the Book of Common Prayer. Hail, savage.
Hi, how are you?
What's that, Toby jug?
Yes.
Where's the pub?
Foaming pint of beer.
Humity, huppatimity, itimity, never mind the buzzcocks. Jonathan Creek. What's about? Habatitata, I can't believe my eyes.
Not just never mind the buzzcocks, other things as well. Do stand-up. Ha 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 ha. Piano. Playing in hotels.
You think you're the first explorers here, don't you? Where do you think these eyeglasses came from?
The extraordinary thing is, between them, Rich and Bill are absolutely right. The first thing said by one of the Native Americans who met the Plymouth Brethren was, could I have some beer? In English. He asked for beer in English.
He met the Indian, did?
Yes. He spoke fluent English. He'd crossed the Atlantic 6 times. This was in 1620. America had been visited by others. The Pilgrim Fathers were not the first people to land in America by any means.
It's a trick question, wasn't it?
Yeah, his name was Squanto, the best known of them.
Yes.
But this particular one was called Samoset, and he spoke very good English.
Somerset.
What did he say then? Get off my land!
Have you got some cider?
You bloody pilgrim farmers, get off my land!
He learned his English from fishermen and from his friend
And the
Squanto.
archers.
And from the archers, probably, as well.
Sure. Are you buzzcocks? That's what he said.
But instead of getting beer, he got cheese and a bit of duck. And they both helped the Pilgrim Fathers survive their first year because they had nothing to eat when they arrived. And all there was Maine lobster, which is now a delicacy, but they thought was hideous.
But they were in terrible strife, weren't they? And they were about to starve.
Yeah.
And then they said, well, actually, you can have here's some turkey.
Yes.
And the full...
And some cranberries.
And then they killed them all. With guns.
Unfortunately, yes. There was 50 years of peace, though. In fact, Squanto brokered a peace that lasted for 50 years. They lived together very happily. He was an interesting fellow, Squanto. He was kidnapped from his village by a British captain around 1605, which was 15 years before the Mayflower sailed. And he lived in England for 9 years. And then he returned home on another British ship. Then another British captain kidnapped him and tried to sell him into slavery in Spain. He was rescued by some Spanish friars, escaped back to London, took ship again, this time to Newfoundland, found it was too far to walk home, so he sailed all the way back to England. The following year, he signed up for an exploratory expedition to New England and crossed the ocean again. By the time he had crossed the Atlantic 6 times, he was fluent in English. At this point in our Euro quiz, regulations require us to have a Call My Euro Bluff round. So, let's play Call My Euro Bluff. Good evening and welcome. No, hush, Tish and Pibble. Who should we start? We'll start with David. David, give us some Euro regulation.
It's illegal to sell bananas if they're too curvy.
What do we think? Anyone got a theory about that?
I think that's true.
It's quite a well-known Euro regulation, straight bananas.
It's utter arse of the highest order.
So you're saying a bluff, are you? Well, what do you feel?
I seem to recall this is one of those things that the Daily Mail would suddenly go, how dare they say our bananas can't be bendy? Why, it's bendy bananas made this country what it is.
Yeah.
Balls.
Yeah, you see, it's balls. Would you like to reveal then?
Balls.
It's a bluff.
It's just, you just have to say how big they are, which is fair enough, because you don't, otherwise people are selling tiny pea-sized bananas.
And the clincher is the current EU standards are identical to the pre-existing British ones and the United Nations ones and the OECD ones. I mean, nothing has changed. Nothing is new, except, as you say, the ability of the press to make things up and scare us that bananas are going to be straightened. So, it's become rather political and rather exciting. Dara, what is yours?
OK, well, this actually is true. Trawlermen will soon be required to wear hairnets whilst fishing.
Is this because they're handling food? And
It's exactly the point is to keep them clean right from the very start. So that's why
convincing stuff. What do we feel?
Well, it makes practical sense as well, of course, because the hairnet could also maybe catch any smaller fish, like, you know, whitebait or scampi that might get in the hair of the fisherman, and then you just, at the end of the day, oh, there's another, that's dinner.
Yeah, they're used to handling nets. What are your thoughts?
Well, and then they wear hard hats now at Smithfield Market, and they never had to. They're always making people put things on their heads.
Good point. I know, I like that. Good. What do you feel, Phil?
Yes.
You think it's true as well. So most people think this is true. Come, demonstrate, would tell us, put us out of our misery. It's a bluff as well. It's not true. In fact, I quote Richard Littlejohn. He goes, oh, what a circus. The safety Nazis have forced fishermen to wear hairnets. You couldn't make it up. Well, actually, oddly enough, Richard, you could and you did.
It wasn't even as if that Littlejohn didn't make that up.
No, he didn't, in fact.
It was made up by British journalists in a bar in Brussels.
Yeah, absolutely
who tried to run to see, will people fall for this? Yeah. And the British press fell for it completely.
It's because they know that people love their little 5 minutes of snorting anger over the breakfast. Bloody people, why don't God, it's so...
It's ridiculous. You don't take an active interest in how your country's run for just 45 years, and look what happened.
Where would you put your ladder if you wanted to get into space?
On top of the spaceship, on a rack. A red flag hanging off of it so some other spaceships don't follow you too closely.
It's a conceptual question. How about this? Up against a wall of silence.
You should have railings built round you and people would come and worship you as a kind of modern Buddha. You've got the look, I have to say.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a good look.
Thank you very much.
Buddha look.
Rural Buddhas.
Yeah.
So there, right? Wisdom and cheat cider.
You're saying where you put the ladder, you'd assume, I suppose, the obvious answer is you'd put it on the highest point, like Everest.
Yes, that wouldn't...
It'd be a bit bumpy, wouldn't it? You couldn't get a good foothold on it.
It's sometimes called a space ladder. It's more commonly called a space elevator. It is a genuine idea that has been worked on, and many people believe would have saved the space program an enormous amount of money in various ways, was to build a huge elevator that goes from Earth and is counterweighted at the other end and spin round incredibly fast. But it would be an equivalent of geostationary orbit at the end of it, and you would have elevators on it that would go up and down.
With a phone that didn't work in it. I'm stuck on the... I'm about 87,000 miles.
There's some
right
kind
beyond
of
Venus.
There's some kind of a door in the roof.
It was Arthur C. Clarke who particularly believed in this thing, but NASA spent a lot of money on it. But the important point is you would have to do it on the equator, where the Earth goes at its fastest. Because it's the bit, you know, like the end of a record, goes faster than the middle, obviously.
What about a series of trampolines? They have a huge trampoline, and then up higher up is another one about half a mile up, and then another one. So it's like a staircase of trampolines going up into space, and then there's a big bouncy castle at the top. And a bloke charging you £1, and you've got to take your shoes off. I'd tell you the best way to get into space, I would tell you, I've just realised it, and it's brilliant. It's just brilliant. I'm going to be so rich. Bubble. A bubble. Get in a bubble, just float up there.
One day.
I mean a big bubble. I'm not talking about those bubbles you see in the... That's not a bubble. Stupid little one. You call that a bubble, mate? You're going to see my bubble. No, a big bubble, you get in the bubble and off you go.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Who wants in?
Me.
This is like the Dragon's Den for cranky ideas.
How about this? You could just imagine.
Oh, Bill. Huh? Bill, that's so beautiful.
It's the wisdom of the rural Buddha.
The Dalai Farmer.
Very good.
Excellent. I've been struggling with that for about 5 minutes. Got to be something in this.
Oh, your synapses are firing beautifully. Use your synapses to fire people into space. What did Queen Victoria think of Mr. Bean? Yes.
We are not amused.
So soon.
Albert would have liked it because he's German, and the Germans are mad for Bean.
That's true.
I was on the Lufthansa flight once, and everyone was howling with laughter all around me with headphones in. I couldn't understand why, and I looked, and they were all watching Bean.
Yeah.
They love it.
There's a certain efficiency about it. Yeah, this does something and falls over. It's very amusing. Before, he was walking in the straight lines, and he's walking into the door. Genius!
This is what happens when you break the rules.
Sometimes I stay up very late.
Can I take this off?
Of course you can. Of course you can take it off, old thing. Yes. Is it uncomfortable?
They're all locked.
It's Sean Locke.
I suspect it's not that Mr. Bean.
No,
Is there
it
another Mr. Bean?
It was a man called John Bean, who was one of 3 people who tried to do something to Queen Victoria just in the 4th year of her reign, when she was a very slip of a thing.
Take her roughly behind the bike sheds.
No, or indeed invent the bicycle and then invent the shed with the
Sell her tea towels door to door.
Kiss her on the mouth.
Quite the other.
Oh,
Kiss her on the arm.
I mean...
Is that a request? Is that how you phrase it?
If you're the Queen, you can get anything done, can't you, really? You there, kiss me on, all right.
As much as kissing someone is a friendly act, these were unfriendly.
Surely he didn't turn down her advances with knockers like this.
How could you?
Kicked her in the shins.
No, 3 times in
Tried to
1842
murder her.
they tried to assassinate her, tried to kill her. And there was one called Mr. Bean who had a gun and he filled it with wads of tobacco, which didn't really do much harm.
Was he trying to give her cancer? I'd like the idea of Mr. Bean trying to assassinate someone by clumsiness. Yeah. Just, making a cup of tea, and the whole house collapses, the palace falls. Everywhere he goes, it's basically a sort of tornado of disaster, isn't it?
Mayhem.
I was in a remote Australian sheep station once, and the bloke went, "Yeah, you ever watched that Mr. Bean?" And I went, "Yeah," and he goes, "That bloke's a bloody idiot."
That's fabulous.
He goes, "Yeah, he wouldn't last 5 minutes in the bush." well, no, clearly not.
Yeah. There you are. Now, let's hear how you all intend to end it all. And Dara goes... and Jimmy goes... Doon goes... and Alan goes... Excellent. Great. Thank you, Alan. Superb. I think I detected the hand of the late, great Dudley Moore in your buzzer there. Now, that brings us to our final question. What were the last words of General Sedgwick in the wilderness of Spotsylvania?
He hasn't got a mouth. So there weren't any words at all. Unless he wrote them down.
In a convenient bubble that he carried around with him.
Maybe had a little notebook of bubble-shaped things and he just...
I'll tell you that the year is 1864. What war was going on then?
Franco-Prussian War.
That was a tiny bit later.
The 100 years, 30 years, 25 years.
American Civil War.
The American Civil War.
The
So we're
American
talking
Civil
about
War.
Yeah, well done. Thank you for cutting that
The
off.
American Civil War.
It is the American Civil War. That was not, however, the question.
Why was it hard for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle?
Eyes to the right.
This is because it was a gate, wasn't it? It was a gate.
No. Christ, if you remember, says it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God.
Of course, and these were the days before liquidizers.
Yeah.
So there was no chance of pureeing up the thing and getting a straw. And I mean, it would be a mess, but it would be doable, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, because remember, this is a rich man we're talking about. He would have people to
He'd
do
have
this
all
for
the
him.
white goods,
Yeah.
wouldn't he? You know, if there's anything.
Obviously, what happened is a lot of rich men read the Bible and thought, that can't be right, surely. So there are two get-out clauses. One was this idea that there was an eye of the needle gate
Wasn't
in
it?
Jerusalem city walls, but there is absolutely no contemporary historical or archaeological evidence.
Well, actually, in biblical times, women's hands were significantly bigger than they are today. So a needle's eye could be 40 or 50 foot across. Enormous.
You still want that rich man to get through, don't you?
Well, the thing is, what someone told me, I might say, at my bloody school,
Yes.
which is still going, and it turns out it's talking bullshit.
I bet it was a private school.
Private school.
Where they don't like to get on the
they
wrong
said
side of rich people.
There are two sorts of gate to get into cities in those days. One that was quite wide, one that was quite narrow, and a fully laden camel couldn't squeeze through quite a narrow gate, and those were called eyes of needles. And what Jesus wasn't doing was being sort of sarky and going, yeah, it's about as easy for a rich man to get into heaven as to get a planet into a shoe. He was actually saying that if the camel was no longer fully laden, hence the wealth had been, dumped somewhere, then the camel went in easy
I
as you
don't know
like.
how rich you are if all your stuff is on the back of one camel.
But it depends if it's diamonds.
Yeah,
That's
damn
really
rich.
rich. They hadn't found all the South African diamond mines then, so diamonds worth even more.
Yeah, good point.
The coronation of George IV, all the diamonds in the crown jewels were hired. The King of England wasn't rich enough to own enough diamonds for one poxy coronation. That's how expensive diamonds
Can you
were.
hire
now,
diamonds?
any sort of rap star's got
Of course you
loads.
can. At the Oscars, all the actors hire diamonds.
That would be the Everest of unsure engagements, wouldn't it? I've just rented this for a week. Let's see how things go. Let's wait till after you put
But
out.
no, you're absolutely right, David. That is precisely what...
Jesus was being
Jesus
sarcastic.
meant exactly what he said.
Should have just said,
Yeah.
you can't. If you're rich, you're going to hell.
Yeah. Best thing to do in a falling lift.
Well, strictly speaking, I don't know, but I'd like to say that I once interviewed a man who had been in a falling lift, and we were investigating the theory, which I know I'll lose points for if I say it out loud, that by jumping up just before it hits the ground, you can sort of say... We were investigating the theory.
It's very unfair to forfeit you there.
He was sort of very deadpan about it, and he had survived this experience, and he sort of said that maybe jumping up may have helped. But,
What about making everyone else in the lift lie down so that when you splat on the ground, you're sort of cushioned by that?
This is it. This is more or less what Clive was saying about the thing. It is basically lie on a fat person as you're going down.
No wonder
that's
everyone
prob-
smiles
the
when I
best
get
one.
in a lift.
When you get in, you never lie down. It's a long journey. You
Which
might
I
do that.
often do.
Sometimes they give the rather alarming device. Bend your knees slightly, just so that when you hit the ground, your thigh bones don't go up through your abdomen. But that's pretty unpleasant.
Has this ever happened?
Yes and
the
no.
rope snaps and you say, would you mind lying down so I can lie on top?
You've only got a couple of seconds to think about
Hurtling
it.
to the ground. First of all, it is a very improbable scenario because multiple cables support every lift, each cable capable of holding the entire lift.
There's no rope, then?
If they were all to go, they have emergency brakes on them, and they have had since, the 1850s and
Don't
60s.
you think they should tell people that write thrillers about that.
Yeah, they don't have strange little
They're
vents
always
that you can climb
plunging
up
to the
through.
ground,
Yeah.
aren't they?
But what is it when there are people who are frightened of being in lifts? What are they actually frightened of? Are they frightened of this happening?
Or getting stuck, a kind of claustrophobia mixed with that. In a skyscraper, the lift can achieve speeds of up to 120 miles an hour by the time it hits the bottom. But the problem with jumping is it might take 5 miles per hour off this 120 if you did it. You'd have to time it perfectly. Plus, lifts bounce because there are springs at the bottom. So you'd be in real trouble. You'd bang your head and everything. So, yeah, basically just get the impact cushioned is the answer.